The 2020 Allard Prize for International Integrity was awarded jointly to a murdered blogger and a whistleblower banker who has to live his life in hiding. Finally, a report in 2020 about freedom fighters getting the credit they deserve. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and today I'm bringing you a story about a freedom fighter award you won't hear about or see on mainstream media. The $100,000 Allard Prize was established back in 2012 and is one of the largest anti-corruption prizes in the world, and it started right here in Canada. It's awarded to an individual, group, or organization that has, quote, demonstrated exceptional leadership and courage in the protection of human rights while upholding the rule of law, promoting transparency, and or preventing or combating corruption. This year, the 2020 Allard Prize was awarded via virtual ceremony posthumously to independent journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia and British banker Howard Wilkinson. Just watch.
Daphne Caruana Galizia. Daphne worked as a Maltese investigative journalist, blogger, and anti-corruption activist for 30 years. Daphne's reporting was largely focused on uncovering government corruption, nepotism, and organized crime. Her blog, Running Commentary, was one of the most popular websites in Malta. The popularity and content of her reporting made her a target for harassment and intimidation. Daphne received threats on a near daily basis. In October 2017, Daphne was murdered when a car bomb placed in her vehicle detonated. Howard Wilkinson was working in Danske Bank's Baltic trading unit in 2013 when he uncovered suspicious activity in bank records that to Wilkinson suggested possible money laundering. Wilkinson investigated the matter and learned that the bank had ignored numerous regulatory requirements and had insufficient controls to prevent such financial crimes. He brought his concerns to the bank's internal audit unit on several occasions, but they did not respond or take action to stop the activity or close the accounts in question. What Wilkinson had in fact discovered was one of the world's largest money laundering operations, worth at least 200 billion euros. Years later, in 2018, a newspaper article published an article about the money laundering scandal that identified Howard as the Danske Bank's whistleblower, despite his desire to remain anonymous.
You might not know about the Allard Prize because we all know that mainstream media doesn't care all that much about real freedom fighters, advocates for transparency, or the people who honor them. Mainstream media thinks fighting for freedom is complaining about mean tweets from Donald Trump on Twitter. The prize was established in October 2012 and funded by a Peter A. Allard through the Allard Prize Foundation. Now, Allard is a rarity in Canada, a liberty-oriented activist and longtime humanitarian and philanthropist in Vancouver. In fact, the law school at UBC even bears his name. Allard is one of the few liberty-oriented philanthropists in Canada. Everyone else is just too scared to deviate from the establishment position, worried more about being canceled than they are about being right. Allard hopes the nominees for the award named in his honor will inspire others to protect human rights and fight oppression and abuses of power wherever we encounter them. But Howard Wilkinson and Daphne Caruana Galizia have stiff competition for the Allard Award, up against over 500 nominees from 85 different countries. The other finalist for this year's prize was the International Commission Against Impunity in Guatemala. And I think you should know a little bit about them and their work to speak truth to power and fight corruption. According to their bio, the commission was established in 2007 by an agreement between the United Nations and the Guatemalan government to strengthen and support state institutions responsible for the investigation and prosecution of criminal groups that had infiltrated state institutions since the end of Guatemala's decade-long internal armed conflict. CICIG demonstrated a strong commitment to accountability and led over 120 cases and exposed more than 70 criminal networks, revealing widespread government fraud and corruption involving government officials, prominent business leaders, and drug traffickers. CICIG's work led to the removal of a dozen corrupt judges and the expulsion of 1,700 officers from the National Civilian Police. Here's a question. Where are the defund the police activists to talk about this real police corruption? Too busy burning black neighborhoods and black-owned businesses, I suppose. At Rebel News, we value the freedom we have to live however we want to report, to hold the government accountable, and our systems. It's part of what we do every day, a key component of our mission to tell the other side of the story. This part of our activism includes helping people fight the fines at fightthefines.com. It's also why we hire bodyguards through journalistdefensefund.com, and it's why we expose government misdeeds through access to information at rebelinvestigates.com. Mainstream media journalists didn't cover the massive Canadian Base Award today. Many have probably never heard of the very important Allard Prize or the work done by the brave nominees discussed in this report. That's because they don't have to know about it. They get their very own Trudeau Prize paid for with your taxpayer dollars in the form of the media bailout. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. Here at Rebel News, we bring you the other side of the story, and in many cases, it can be unsafe to do so. That's why when our supporters donate at journalistdefensefund.com, it means so much to us. If you head to journalistdefensefund.com, you can donate towards covering the costs of when we need bodyguards and or lawyers to help to keep us safe both physically and legally when we bring you the other side of the story. We appreciate your support.